Hey, what's up, everybody? Just wanted to take a few minutes this morning to go over a few things with my Oklahoma Joe. It's coming up on Memorial Day. As a matter of fact, tomorrow will be Memorial Day, and it's scheduled to rain here where I live in Georgia. So I decided to go ahead and cook yesterday, and haven't had a chance to clean the grill up. But there's some things that I want to show you guys this morning. I've seen a lot of videos about modifications, but I've never seen one where somebody's done one where they show, the after effects of the modifications. And that's kind of what I want to do this morning, is talk about some of those things that I've done and how well that I like them. And got a few items I want to show you, some things that I use now that help make my cooks a whole lot easier, and they're really producing a great product. Love to get the good feedback from folks, positive or negative. Certainly I'm not a pro by any means, but there are some things that I know that I can learn and try to do better. And I'm always about trying to reach out to show you guys the things that I do to try to make things a little bit better. So we're going to take a look at some of these things now, and going to go through them one by one. All right, guys, one of the first things that I want to bring to your attention is something that I use quite frequently is, you see I've made some modifications here inside of the grill itself. First thing that I did was I got rid of the original grates that came with the unit. And I tell you, I'm really glad that I did that. These are steel grates that are custom cut, and you can get this at any place that sells steel. Doesn't really matter what grade or gauge that you get. I can't remember, what grade this is. If I can get my contact to tell me, I'll put that down in the bottom of the video. But these things have worked tremendously. They hold heat a lot better than the porcelain grates that come in this thing. And to get your grill marks and those kinds of things, it really, really works well. Not only that, they heat up and hold heat better than the other ones, in my opinion. So highly recommend to get those. Now, I'm really cautious about putting out dimensions of these things. What I recommend for anybody to do when you get them, I just bought a long piece, measured from one end, like from here where the grate sits, over to the other side, and cut it at that dimension. And everybody's grill is going to be a little different. You got to remember, guys, these different parts are made in a factory, so they're not all going to be the same. And I found that out, and I'll tell you about that and some of the other things that I've done. So that's one of the modifications. Another thing that I'm really glad that I did was install this chimney. I saw a lot of people, and I just had somebody that asked me in another video why I did that. Well, let me tell you, to me, that is probably the second best thing that I've done to this grill to make it more efficient. What happens here is, you can see on my setup, I don't have any of the baffle plates. One thing that you have to do if you don't have baffle plates, that you got to remember, over here on this side where the heat is coming out of your box where your heat source is, that heat is going to come up and it's going to rise to the top. When it rises to the top, then because the smokestack sits up so high on this thing, most of your smoke and your heat comes right up and out. Doing that, it's been very, very consistent. In the cook yesterday, I might have had this thing going for maybe 5 or 6 hours, and I guarantee you it didn't lose very much heat from the time I got it at the temperature where I wanted, which is around between 250 275. I used to try to stay in that range till I got done, and I just let it just burn itself out. So very, very happy with this. So highly encourage you guys to get you one of these. This particular one that I have here is just it's a metal pipe that I cut to fit. Well, it's a plastic, well, it's the flexible stuff. I can't say that is metal. It's sort of like aluminum, I guess, but works very well, and doesn't take up very much room. You can cut them back a little bit further than what I have mine, and maybe put another piece of meat up under there if you wanted to, but still plenty enough room for me for what I do. Also, you can see down in the bottom I have a piece of aluminum foil, and I started doing that, trying to catch those drippings when you smoke. It's gonna it's going to leave, it's going to take some of the moisture away from that meat. And when it comes down, it's going to have somewhere to go. You want to really be careful on those deposits when it's leaving that stuff in the bottom of your grill. Another thing I want to talk to you guys about is this ThermoPro. And I've got them set here inside of the case. I'm going to have links for all these things too, guys. If you are interested in purchasing them, there's a lot of places now that sell them that are a lot cheaper than when I first got mine. But I can tell you right now, I live by these things. Really happy with this ThermoPro. I think it's the T08 model. I believe is what it is. I have to look back on it and see. But I can tell you, I'm very much so pleased with this thing. I always hook it right here in the middle to kind of get a good reading on what the heat is like in the middle of the grill. And most of the time, there's probably 100-degree difference from the temperature at the grate level to what your thermostat says. So it's really, really, really important that you know what the temperature is here, especially if you don't have the baffle plates. And I'm averaging anywhere from 100 to 120 degrees difference. But because I know what it is, I'm still able to control everything and get everything going the way that I want it. So I don't so much worry about the thermostat on top. I always use my ThermoPro, hook into it. So grates work very well. You know, this stopping that exhaust from going out. Really, really loving that. ThermoPro is working great. Not having any issues with it whatsoever. And very, very happy and pleased with that. All right, I want to move on over here inside of the smoker box. And, you know, one thing that, the second best thing I think that I've done here is to have this charcoal basket built. You can buy them in different places, but again, you know, everybody's smoker box is going to be just a little bit different on dimensions. I think this one is, when I had it built, it was 12 by 12 by 12. I had to cut about a ½ inch off of it to get it to fit right inside of the chamber. So again, that's just, everybody's going to be different. It's going to be something close to that, but you know, everybody's dimensions are going to be a little different. But let me tell you, the use of this thing has transformed the way that you know, the meat taste and the heat that you're able to keep and generate in this thing. I'm going to talk to you guys about that here in just a few minutes with the other accessories. But that charcoal basket, it helps you to bring that heat up higher to get more heat into that chamber. And it keeps it stacked up versus how low this thing sits naturally without it. So highly recommend that you get one of those charcoal baskets made, guys. I'm telling you that, to me, if there's one thing that you do, if you don't do anything else, just to bring your heat up and to have longer cooks, is to get that charcoal basket done. Really pleased with it and its performance. It has been just outstanding. Really love this thing. Also too, guys, you can see where I had the welds done on this thing. It is still holding up. You know, that is the #1 best thing that I think that I could have done, was have this smoker box welded to you know, to this cook chamber. Something else that I do, guys, that I went to and actually got this from Walmart, I believe, but you can get them from anywhere. This particular brand is Accurate, I believe it is. I always get me a pen thermometer as well. And, you know, one thing that I found to kind of keeping this meat juicy is trying to cook more of the temperature to, you know, to whatever your particular taste is. I like stuff well done. I don't like, you know, I cook my steaks, I like them well done, which is, you know, around 160, 170. And that's kind of the temperature that I cook when I cook my meats, except for my dark meat. If I cook dark meat, I may go to 170 or 175 because it does take a little bit longer for that to get done. But I'm telling you guys, very, very happy with the use of this thing. So get your charcoal basket, you know, change your grates out. You know, again, if nothing else, change the stack out, making sure that you can keep some of that heat on the inside of your grill. Get your ThermoPro, and again, I'm going to have some links to some of this stuff where you can go and get it and check it out. All right, the last thing we're going to talk about is charcoal. All right, guys, this is the last thing I want to go over real quick in this video is charcoal. And let me tell you something, guys. Again, like I told you before, I've been a Kingsford guy for as long as I can remember. You know, I didn't want to use anything else except for Kingsford. I had a neighbor of mine who, he hosts parties and he does things, and, he does them on a commercial level. And I asked him what kind of, charcoal he uses, and he told me about this stuff. So I went and bought some, and the first time I used it, I really wasn't that impressed, but I wasn't impressed because I didn't do it right. Part of what I didn't do right on this thing was I didn't let it burn down like it should with my chimney starter. And this stuff is oak wood. B&B is this particular brand. I bought this bag at Academy Sports, but Walmart sells it. There's a lot of other places that sell it. Let me tell you something, guys. Highly, highly, highly recommend this stuff. It burned for so long yesterday, I thought I was going to have to put some water in it and put it out. Temperature was very consistent, and when you first start using this stuff, you have to use it just like regular charcoal. And I think that's where I messed up at. I messed up a cook where I didn't let it burn down like it was supposed to. Well, I put some hot coals on the bottom, pour some on top of it, put my meat in, and still, you have to wait until it burns off, just like charcoal. It's really no different than using it, except that it burns a lot hotter and a lot longer. So I ended up messing up a cook by doing that. Some people talk about the Minion Method. I tried, so that really didn't work for me. Basically what worked for me best is what I did yesterday. Got this chimney starter, got me some going. Once I got that good and hot, I poured some other coals that had not been burned in the bottom, poured those on top of it, and let it all turn ash white like you're supposed to. And then it burned fine, clean, hot. My only concern was I see that it had oak. I never cooked with oak before, and I didn't know what kind of flavor that oak would leave. But I can tell you right now, I had absolutely no issues with a off taste. And I always cook with apple wood. That's what I like. I buy apple chunks. And that stuff was so efficient yesterday. No, very little ash. I mean, it is just so much better than charcoal. It's just something I hate that I wish I didn't try sooner. And even now I can just smell with the wind blowing, the aroma of this stuff just blowing off. Just incredible. So you ought to give this stuff a try, guys. Again, just wait and let it burn off just like charcoal. When it turns ash white, then you're good to go. A little bit does definitely go a long way, as it says on the bag. And you can see how it burned down yesterday. And wow, I'm telling you, just incredible results. The meat is just inside the house, and some of I feel like this is the best barbecue that I did yesterday since I had this thing. So my wife loved it. My friends and family who tried always love it. So I can't wait to give them a taste of this as well. All right, so just another quick recap. Chimney starter, love it, works great. Stuff a little piece of paper in the bottom of it to get it going. That thing gets smoking hot in about 10 to 15 minutes. ThermoPro, highly recommend this. You can monitor your temperature at the grill grate if you don't have the baffle plates inside of it, which I don't, and I probably won't even get them. I'm just happy with where I am right now, so I may not even get them. You get something that works, you stick with it. For your chimney, to keep that smoke inside and just let it go out when it's supposed to naturally. Highly recommend that. This charcoal basket right up at the top of the list. I mean, having that thing up closer where it can get that heat into that chamber, you can't beat that. Also, too, guys, I want to take just a minute to tell you about these locks. Really love these locks too. You can see this when the rubber's burst on it. The rest of them seem to be like they're holding up pretty well. The functionality of them is great because it helps hold that lid good and tight. But even with them not pressed down now, I cooked on it enough where it's kind of starting to seal itself up. Really not doing very much. But the clamps are working great. And I ended up getting those at Harbor Freight, I believe, for $5 or $6 for each one. But all in all, very happy, very pleased with everything. Highly recommend that you guys go out and try some of this stuff. This B&B stuff is the real deal. Really gets hot, burns fast. This oak lump charcoal is the real deal. I'd definitely be using that stuff from now on instead of any of the Kingsford stuff or something, especially if I got a bigger cook. Definitely using that. Charcoal, the chimney starter is great, and the ThermoPro. Links are on the bottom. Check them out, guys. Thank you for watching. Remember to hit subscribe. Any questions that you have, certainly appreciate them. Thanks, guys. Be safe.